the true genius of America. That America can change. Our union can be perfected.
Watch some TV, man.
Yeah, man, I'm up for that.
Sure.
Dude, that's terrible, man.
What is that? I mean,
oh, come on.
Like, do Asians even eat food like that?
I don't even know. Like the bread, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's see another one.
Okay, yeah, come on, let's see what else is on TV.
Stations in Koreatown and Little Tokyo. We are karate are jumping the prices of just for you. Even we would buy it. At Gary's Mattress, we're blowing up prices. Man on horse.
Who sells mattresses? I mean, like, what type of mattress store is this?
Oh my god, it's a terrible racist mattress store.
Yeah, it's terrible. Let's see what's on this next channel.
Yeah, that's it.
That's so racist, man. It's so stereotypical.
It's terrible, man.
I can't believe they would show something like that on TV.
What do you think about this, Anthony?
Too racist for me, man.
Yo, wait, man, wait. They're just commercials, man.
Where are you going?
Oh my goodness. What the heck, Anthony? Why'd you leave? Oh my gosh.
I know. Hey, Fred.
Yep.
Do you think racism is like something you're born with?
Or do you develop racism over time?
Or is it? There's a lot of individuals here that are not participating in this civil disturbance.
I'm not wanting free f***ers out here living on Granite Road in the house. They were brought here as slaves. The only reason that they're free is because of some liberal teaching Jew.
So what's racism, you ask? Well, racism is the belief that a particular or a specific race is better or worse than one another, and that a person is born with their social and moral traits which are related to their race. So is racism taught at an early age through social fear, your family, and media?
Or is it a cause of nature, through instinct, or through the evolutionary process differentiating each race? Could it be, I guess, an overall evolution of cultures even as well, via nature, to adapt to an environment via nature?
Some people think that racism, you're born with racism, or you're either nurtured with racism, or even taught. And I have some clear evidence to back up that racism is taught, rather than being born with racism. It's all about the youth if you're talking about nurture. In a preschool class, David is the only black kid and the rest are white kids. A mother asks her white son, "Do you think there's something different about David?" Her son replies, "Oh yes, he's very different from everyone in the class." She asks, "Why do you say that?" And he replies, "Well, he's the only one who wears glasses." Small children don't bother with unimportant things like skin color. All they see is another kid to play with. They don't see a kid that's black, Asian, Jewish, etc. They see a boy that runs faster than everyone in the class. They see maybe a girl that's smaller than everyone in the class, maybe a guy that's taller than everyone in the class, or maybe even a girl that's really good at making people smile. To them, the idea that skin color should make anyone different in any way is completely outrageous, because they already know that everyone has different skin colors anyways. For them, it doesn't make any more sense than placing a negative label on someone because their eyes are green or their hair is straight. Sadly, racism is alive and well throughout the world, even if it is more prevalent in some areas than others.
You think you know how that would feel to be judged by the color of your skin? Blue eyes. I think maybe the blue-eyed people should be on top the first day. I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Are smarter than brown-eyed people.
Call us brown eyes. They say, come here, brown eyes. And they were calling us blue eyes. I wasn't.
How did these children go from playing together on the playground in preschool without a thought to skin color, religion, or country of origin to spewing out hate-filled insults that have survived centuries and centuries? In order for something to be learned, it must be first taught by children by those they look up to. Maybe it doesn't start when they're toddlers. It could be later in life when peer pressure changes their minds about people they would otherwise have nothing against. But somewhere along the way, someone taught them. A child isn't simply born hating a certain skin color or a certain religion. Those things take time to develop. Those things take time to learn. A person's environment is the most important thing in determining whether or not a person will grow to become a racist. For most children, the teachings begin at home with their parents. What some parents may see as a harmless racist joke, as long as no one in their household is offended, can have lasting effects on their children. Whenever someone laughs or someone agrees, it teaches the child in the household that this is simply the accepted ways things are in their society, and that obviously their parents agree or they wouldn't have said it in the first place. Maybe comments have been made about a neighborhood going downhill with moderate opinions on whose fault that is. Or maybe parents who flat out tell their children that kids of other races are no good and should be stayed away from. Most of the times, adults use hateful language around children unaware of how they are affecting them. Children will often repeat what their parents say. This is where it all starts.
I find that a lot of people here, being mostly Caucasian and the area based mostly on Caucasian traditions, they don't know too much about other races. So when they form stereotypes, it's mainly what the media's given them. So they think, say, all blacks run or all blacks do this, when that's not necessarily true. But they haven't known anything else.
If a child's parents and grandparents act or speak negatively in reference to a certain ethnic group, that child will begin to develop the same behavioral pattern. This starts a huge racist cycle. Over time, they will begin to utter the same racial slurs and develop the attitude of superiority, believing that another race is stupid or inferior to them based on what their parental figures say in the home. They see pictures in the paper or on the television of the men, women, boys, and girls who look different from them. That's when mommy and daddy says the bad words, which to the child is okay because they hear it at home so frequently. They don't know any better and it becomes ingrained in their minds, their thought processes, until one day the slurs become to come out of their own mouths as easily as their moms and dads. Therefore, children learn racism for what they intentionally or unintentionally see and hear. But naturally, children obviously notice the skin color, but if no one makes anything of that particular skin color, they won't have any racist comments or hate for that particular race. The media has so much to do with racism as well. Negative racial stereotypes are perpetuated this way. When you turn on the television, certain races are depicted in more negative ways than others. In the beginning of this video, we saw three very stereotypical commercials. Like those commercials are examples of how like little children can get influenced by for hating a particular race or having stereotypes for a particular race or even learning particular stereotypes for a race. Seeing this on television makes it seem that this is all there is to the race. In reality, there is only one aspect of any race. All racial groups commit crimes. All racial groups have problems. No one is above anyone else. As a matter of fact, there are many black CEOs and CFOs in the world. White people do sell drugs and have children out of wedlock too. To conclude, when I was around 6 years old, I used to play with black kids across the street when I used to live in North York, Toronto. I knew that they were different color, but I wasn't taught that they were any different from me. We played side by side and knew no different that racism even existed. Yeah, we're ignorant, but I feel like this was the good kind of ignorant because we were friends. We weren't taught to hate each other because our skin pigment was different from each other's. We didn't know any better. So hi guys.
How you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
Could you introduce yourselves to the camera?
I'm Anthony Delano. I'm Hannah Ryden.
We're going to be talking about racism today.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask you a few questions.
How do you feel about racism?
I feel that everyone is too serious about it. I think everyone just needs to calm down a bit. Take it as a joke.
And I think racism, although it does exist in this world, is very common in our society. I don't think it's right, actually, at all, because I don't think we need to discriminate against people for what they look like.
What would you say is the difference between racism and stereotypes?
Okay, racism is something that infringes upon the right of others. When you make fun of them because of what they look like, not by knowing them. Stereotypes are more common joking level that's kind of more acceptable, such as white people don't really go out to the sun that much, just play too many video games.
What about you, Anthony?
What about me?
Yeah, what about you? How do you feel about stereotypes and what's the difference between stereotypes and racism?